Before we even get started, let's talk about the audience. It's mostly for myself in the future, people who are curious and maybe developers, not audience, potential investors, users, and people looking to be entertained, because this might not be as entertaining, but you're definitely welcome to watch, you just might not enjoy it. So with that said, let's talk about Sprint 1 Week 1 for Boom 5.0. This is an app that you can check out at boomlanguages.com and going to go through weekly status for its development. So I received some feedback, I'm going to go through that. I'm going to demonstrate the app at its current state. I'll paste the Gantt chart so we can see where we're at in the plan and reflect on challenges, successes, lessons learned, tech debt, and future plans. So let's jump into feedback. So I asked some friends to take a look and pretend that they were investors or that they were going to give their own money to fund the development of this app into something profitable. And I got a lot of interesting thoughts on that. First of all, if I was to present something like that, present the expected returns and capital required to make it happen. Okay. Investors would be interested in how will it make things easier for people, really drive home the value of the app to consumers, and come up with an ideal customer profile or ICP. So how many people are actually looking for this, and what's the strategy to capture customers and get them involved. Share marketing plans. I don't have any of these things, by the way, but I will need to develop them in the future. Empirical results, do some research, do some benchmarks with actual users on the app. I think there's some research to be done for sure on the internet, and I'm hoping that as I get some early test users, I'll be able to glean some empirical results as well from based on how they use the app. So just a comment to focus on what's done rather than what's planned and show progress. And emphasis might be on user growth rather than features for people looking to invest in a SaaS type business like this. What about the presentation? Last week was a pretty lengthy presentation going through some of the ideas that I had for this app, the plans, all that stuff. So clarify audience, I took care of that in this one. Right up front, who's this for? The previous presentation really did not specify who it was for, and it was a mix of being directed towards investors, towards just myself, towards friends, towards developers. It was all over the place. So having an audience is important. Showing an agenda at the beginning, maybe you're distracted throughout because you're wondering if something's going to be covered. Showing that right up front is something that I should do in the future for sure, so that people aren't wondering what's in the presentation. Emphasize why Boom is unique. So I really have to drive that home. Maybe more of a dive into features and skills involved in language learning. So definitely more details about the process of language learning rather than the nitty-gritty of how it's implemented, especially for an investor audience or a customer audience. That would make a lot of sense. Format was distracting, too many slide changes. I could see that being overboard for sure, so that's fair. More engaging production quality for people with not a lot of time, people looking to invest, or customers wondering if this is for them. Definitely need to do better than just PowerPoint and slides. Of course, this one is really quick. It's a weekly thing, so I'm just going for it. But in the future, definitely, that makes a lot of sense. And there was, I guess, enough in the thing last week to split into multiple videos. So I think that's also a really good comment. Maybe that should have been more than one video just because there was so much packed into it. Other comments were, one was to use sprints instead of weekly schedules so that there's less rigidity. So I already kind of took that into account. I'm going to call these weekly, just reviews on the sprint so far. So the plan that I made last time, we'll just call that a sprint, and it'll be like a bucket to get all of that stuff done in the next 4 weeks. So let's jump into a demo of what Boom looks like right now. Okay, so here we are. This is the October 27th, 2023 version of boomlanguages.com. There's a get started button, a login button, and not much else on the homepage. I'm going to log in with Google. I might just cut away while I do that. Okay, I'm all logged in, and I'm greeted. It knows my name, Steve. So I've already got some logs in here. Actually, there is an onboarding where it just asks you to enter your name, select what language you're learning and what language you know. But we can skip that, no big deal. That's all part of the login flow. The main thing is we have a big log button. You can click that, and it's a flow. It's supposed to be as easy as possible, so it only shows you one thing at a time. So you can select among a bunch of random stuff that I just came up with that maybe you do to practice. So say it's a conversation. You click that, it goes next, and a conversation is listening and speaking. I'd love to have this pre-populated based on what activity, so it takes a guess basically. And then you have to quantify the activity. So, oops, I didn't even see what I hit. Oh, I hit pages. That doesn't make much sense, but that's okay. We'll do 10 pages. We're going to have to edit our activity, so that's perfect. So if we hit more on our logs here, and then we can go check out the conversation that we just logged, well, we're taking a look at this, and pages doesn't make sense. So we hit edit, and we're going to change that to minutes. I'd say that makes the most sense there. And there we go. We have a 10-minute conversation that we had, and improved 2 skills, and it's all good. So this really needs a notes section too, so that you can take a couple notes on what you learned maybe, or things you want to remember. But that's pretty much it. So that's the create, read, update, and destroy of logs. So I can actually delete this too, and we're good. Yeah, so that's 1 week of work, and I have a feedback button. You can click right on this. It'll open an email to send to me, share anything you want, and I tucked away all of the old features into the learn page here. I don't think they work anymore because it uses the old database. I switched over to Postgres instead of Mongo, so those might not work, but that's pretty much all we got for the demo. So thanks. Okay, back to the slides. Gantt chart. So actually, I know we're doing the sprints, so it doesn't really matter, but I'm about a week ahead. So I was able to get all the logging stuff done this week, and all the login stuff, and host Boom on my cluster. So that's actually really good. That's mostly because I already had the login logout stuff mostly done. It just needed some tweaking. So that's good stuff. I'm going to jump into the streak and the skill counts and keep pushing. If we can get all these done and then start refining it a little bit, that'll be very exciting. So let's reflect. I'm going to try to keep this quick. Challenges. It's all been technical challenges so far, so you're going to see some of those in Successes. We'll just jump into that. Kubernetes wins. I finally figured out how to automate cert management, which I have been trying for a very long time to do. It actually works. I can get Let's Encrypt certificates automatically, no big deal. So easy now, which is great. Once it's configured, it's really easy. Love it. Deploy is automated. Helm charts are added. So I'm a big Kubernetes guy now for this. I improved the login and register flow. Nothing really to say there. Completed the first pass with all the log features, you saw that already, and switched from Mongo to Postgres for the backend database. There will be a lessons learned about that, but oh, okay, here it is right here. So one I thought was kind of funny is Helm is kind of like IKEA furniture. So imagine you go to IKEA, you buy the furniture and you build it, right? I think Helm is like that. You want to go buy the pieces and then build it yourself. You don't. When would you ever go buy a pre-built IKEA piece of furniture? Like, it's going to cost a lot more. You got to figure out how to get it in your house. You got to probably take it apart to get it in your house and then put it back together again. So you're wasting your time and your money. Don't do that. Just build your own. So why do I say that? Because I was trying to use off-the-shelf Helm charts from like Postgres or Mongo or whatever. I found it so much faster and easier to just build my own for my own purposes. I don't need all the scaling and nonsense yet. So understanding it top to bottom, can't beat that. You pay for the simplicity of NoSQL. So what do I mean by that? MongoDB, great to get started, and I built some Boom prototypes in Mongo, but it was getting to the point where there is just a lot of brushed under the rug tech debt type stuff going on. Switching to Postgres really makes it a lot easier to keep track of the format of the data, and Prisma in Next.js, Prisma is wonderful because it generates clients for you. You don't have to worry about typing, and it matches the database no matter what. So I'm a big Postgres guy now. Love it. NoSQL is good to get started, and I'm sure it has its own use cases, but I'm glad to switch to Postgres for now. We'll see if I regret that later. Another one is more of a technical one. Make sure that you're awaiting things, because if you're calling something that's an async function and you don't have a wait in front of it and you have a try catch somewhere bubbled up, it's not going to catch the error because it's asynchronous. So it just skips right over the try catch block. Not very exciting, but that was a fun one for this week. Tech debt. So got to fix log edit on mobile. That table that you saw was too long to display on mobile, and validate the edit form to prevent empty skills. The new form does do validation, but the edit form does not. So this has to go on a list somewhere. I'm not sure where yet. Dev plan. So sprint 1 is MVP. That's the next 3 weeks. Then the next sprint, going to try to find some users and clean up the UX and make it really tight and perfect for that measure feature. And then sprint 3, I think, will work adding back the video translator, and that can be the first premium feature. So the video translator is currently broken. It's one of the old ones from an earlier version of Boom, and it's pretty cool, but there's some work required to get it into the current app and working. And then after that, sprint 4, I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out as we go. And this is just a paste of the long-term plan from the last presentation. So just taking a look at it again. Core features, find users, add some features, and then next year just basically iterate on that progress. So that's actually it for this week. Thank you for watching. Hope it was interesting. Probably wasn't, but we're moving forward. See you for week 2 of Boom.